get to one of our goals, guys. We gotta get these kids out of our bed.
Completely. So goals in a relationship.
Yeah. So, you know, I like to call it PGH, you know? Like, what's your PGH? Your purpose, your goals, and your habits that you're going to implement to get to the goals that you want. You know, with anything, you have to have a vision. You gotta have the purpose. You know what I mean? What's the purpose of your relationship? Joshua and myself, we knew that when we got married, that marriage, for us, marriage was ministry. Marriage was blessing ministry. Others. Marriage was giving. And that's where we found our fulfillment as a couple. Right? That's true. And then now that you have your vision and you have your purpose, now you can dive into what goals are going to get you to that purpose.
Absolutely. That's really key.
But not only that, the goals don't change who you are as a person. So now you got to develop those habits that's going to cause you to achieve those goals and those goals achieving the ultimate purpose for your relationship.
No,
right?
It's true. It's true. And what I love about that purpose, goals, habits, PGH, that's going to be in that downloadable form. You know, you guys check it out. Make sure you download it. It's free. Use it for your relationship. Because here's the thing. If you don't know your purpose, then you can't develop your goals. If you don't know what you're aspiring towards, you don't know what habits you need to have. And so just having that vision, you know, you see how it gives direction to everything else. When you decide that I'm going to lose weight, okay, how much weight you want to lose? I want to lose 20 pounds. By when? Okay, now because you have that lined up, the Bible says, you know, I think it's Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision,
make it plain.
Make it plain so that he who reads it can run with it. So now you see how it begins to affect every other decision you make. When you know what your purpose is, what your goals are, and what habits you need to have, now whenever time they say there's free priests in the break room, you know what I mean? You be like, you know what, this doesn't line up. You know, it's still gonna be a temptation, but because you know what you're working towards, you know how to get there. So, so when you think about goals in a relationship, right?
Yes.
We talked about just the first. What the first embodies, finances, intimacy, relationship, sex, and time, but we also like transparency. So what is our goals? So this sounds, for some of you, you're like, okay, this sounds good, but how do you apply this? How do you make it practical?
Well, that's why we kind of created this guide, because some people may like, oh yeah, relationship goals. And you can just write down a few things. And people tend to surface over, we want to make a lot of money. We want a big house. We want such and such amount of kids. You know, we want to be happy. We want to travel. But this is going to allow you to break it down into segments. And help you achieve each individual goal. You know, there's like an umbrella goal, and then there's those micro goals that fall underneath it. So
and I think what you'll find with it makes it a little more simple. When you know your overall goal, it's exciting, but it's overwhelming when you're not sure where to start. Sue and I, we kicked off this year with already meeting with clients, and we're sitting down and saying, okay, let's talk about goals. And it was like, well, we want to do this. We want to do this, and it sounds fun, but when you only see the overall picture, it can be overwhelming. So we kind of break it down into these segments, and it was like, you know what? This is doable. Just like for Sue and I, we're one of our goals is we're getting out of debt. We want to pay off this much debt by this much time, and we just want to position ourselves so we can change, you know, our family tree, you know, have a legacy for our children. You know, the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And so we got to sit down and break it down, and then that's how you can devise a plan. So
no, that's really good, because you know, when you think about everything, people are just like, I have this, I have that. Come together, you write it down, and you talk about it, you really discuss it, not just the surface, but you really dive deep, especially like the topics concerning in your marriage, intimacy and sex and all of that. You got to get yourself to a place where you can just talk about it and just be open about it and be more comfortable.
Transparency.
A lot of people feel like, oh, you're married, everything is going to be perfect. It's everything's going to. You have to work on every aspect and talk about certain things, because there's going to be like certain things in the finances that may not be going right. There might be certain things in the intimacy, you know, and people don't realize that there's a difference between the physical act called sex and intimacy. What the intimacy is. So I think this is like a really good way for you all to just kind of lay out what you want for 2021, and mid-year or quarterly you can revisit it. You can make adjustments. Just because you write it in at the beginning of the year doesn't mean that's like set in stone. It doesn't mean that it can't be adjusted.
No, it's true. And so one thing to keep in mind as you guys are kind of sitting down and maybe you're thinking about it, maybe some of you already had these discussions, you know, babe, what we working on? Where do we want to get to? Where, you know, maybe some of you may not have that discussion. Whenever you're setting goals, you know, you want to make sure that, you know, they have SMART goals, the SMART or SMS goals, you know, so you want to be specific. You want to make sure that it's measurable. You know, and you want to keep it simple. You know, and it makes life easier that it's the overall goals, but let's break it down. Finances, you know, let's be specific. How much debt we want to pay off in this first quarter? Okay. So now we can measure that, because we can say, okay, if we do this, you know, if we set this aside every paycheck, if we spend less here, we can measure and meet that goal, and we keeping it simple. So we talked about, so just think about it, finances, you know, intimacy, you know, the difference with intimacy and sex, because initially you think it's synonymous. You know, intimacy is the act of sex, and it's not. Intimacy is what leads to the act of sex. Intimacy is really basically quality time. And you can set goals when it comes to quality time, right?
Yeah. But you know what? I believe that intimacy goes beyond just quality time. It's I believe the intimacy is the state of mind. You know? It's the mindset in the moment that you're in. The connection. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And once you kind of flow into that mental connection, it just flows into the sexual physical act, and then from there you're like, your mind is like not wandering. You're so connected and you're so into each other in that moment, that it's not, oh, you're in the act, but you're like, what we gonna have for dinner? You know what I mean? You're into each other. You guys see something, and you know what? It's like you gotta be very intentional about this. Sue and I, we have to, because we got 4 kids. You know, 2 of them, we put them in their beds and they wander in the middle of the night to come to our beds, and so that's one of our goals, guys. We gotta get these kids out of our bed completely through the night. You know, we get them in there, they wander back. By the time we're too tired, so we're just like, come on. Just get in the bed. But then you're getting elbowed. You know, one is like picking up her head and like dropping it like it's hot on you. So you know, and so for us it has to be intentional, because that's our time. We say we got to set aside time so that we can work on us. The intimacy is that knowing. You know, that knowing of each other, and this is where we kind of talk, and we talk we're not talking about responsibilities, we're not talking about kids, we're not talking about work. We're talking about, like, you know, where are you right now? You know, we're still in this pandemic. You know, where are you? We find out, you know, where, you know, that GPS, you know where each other are, and you meet halfway to make sure that whatever you're going through together, right? You're growing together, not growing apart.